नेपाली के भन्छ नेपालीमा हामी लाइभ वाच पार्टी गर्दैछौँ हामीसँग इन्डियन र म छु है त्यहाँ टिमहरू चाहिँ आइसकेको छ
going back to it, and before Homebois was out here, that's the thing. I think, you really kind of have to focus on the draft, but also draft-wise, you only have so many picks, you only have so many bands. You kind of have to just pick what you're confident in. If you're Homebois, is there something to get
आज चाहिँ कसले जित्छ जस्तो लाग्छ तिमीलाई
but knowing that there's probably a curveball coming from maybe Bren at some point that could work out in your favor. You just have to play it top of your game.
यसको सपोर्टमा थिए हैन
मलाई चाहिँ एपी ब्रेन्डले 100% जित्छ जस्तो लागिरहेको छ हैन
म पनि सपोर्टमा हो तर गेमको खेल्नु
होमबोइज त धेरै इन्जोय छ नि
Even games of the future, the digital is
combining
the physical with the digital, right? And I feel like AP
Bren, that's where
their like core values, right? Because Coach Ducky was all about that. Like, you guys need to lift weights, be at the gym because it makes you physically stronger. If there's a question and something that I've been asked before too, I believe the physical comes before
quarter final
the mental.
यो जसले
Mental
जित्छ
gets
सेमी
stronger
फाइनल
based on your physical, right? And depending on how you view that or not, like that's something that's happening here, and I love what physical
लीगबाट खेल्थे यसले फेर क्या
together
यो
because
क्लब
it's that
फेरि
concept, right?
चाहिँ
It's that ideology. And AP Bren is a team
एपी
where
ब्रेन्ड अब अस्तिको वर्ल्ड च्याम्पियन पर्याइहाल्छ नि यिनीहरूलाई
sometimes they might
त्यही पनि अब गेमका आँखा हुँदैन हेरौँ होमबोइजले फेरि बेस्ट अफ 3 हो है यो गेम यो चाहिँ थाहा हेर्दैछौ तिमीले यो गेम पहिले पनि हेरेको अस्ति अस्ति पनि हेऱ्यौ
big tournament win was a 7-game series that went to like what, 2 in the morning almost. You know what I mean? Like against 7 games straight. You know, and that takes a certain level of mental fortitude when you've been playing games for days and days and days. So, that is still a very strong point here. And why I'm saying, like, AP Bren, they don't have many weaknesses. They obviously do. Every team has a weakness. And I think you just have to be comfortable enough in your team, in your skin, in your teammates, be able to pull something off confidently against the team. Homebois is definitely there. Like, they have the ingredients.
तिमीले चाहिँ के मेन उयोमा हेरिरहेको छौ नि मेन
Obviously, all
च्यानल
of it starts in the draft, which will be upon us, very shortly here. And that's
Somebody
where we
delay
really
us,
see
so
how
sorry.
things are going to unfold for them.
Yeah,
I would love to see this bird camp where Homebois, Game1, pulls an unorthodox lineup out that actually works for them. And throws AP Bren off their feet, off balance for a little bit. Like, I would love to see Homebois do that. It's just, I don't actually know, like, if they're willing to go that route here in this high-stake matchup against best-of-3 single elimination.
It's gonna be really hard to pulling something off in a crucial matchup like this. Like it's already eliminations, you're gonna be out. It's no longer the group stages. But I think for Homebois, they can still pretty much do that, right? Like for AP Bren, they like coming in here. They they are pretty much prepared for any type of situation. Like even going a little bit back to like the Emerald Championship, there was like criticism like behind the scenes of what's going on, but Coach Ducky actually told the entire team during the match point in like the BO7, right? Like something like that doesn't even throw AP Bren off. So I think trying to catch someone by surprise is just by picking up something super contemporary, which is something that I'm a huge fan of, because not only does it give you like a lot of talking points, there's so much possibilities for that kind of pick. Say, you pick something, what is off meta right now? Like something off meta, you pull it off, and like, where's that gonna go, right? Like, Homebois actually did that, even in the group stages where, okay, they got a Bren there, they got a Ruby there, they even got like a Fakito there, so it's like, okay, this is pretty much all set. Like, Bren is going to the jungle, and then boom, they pick up like a Hellcurt for their final pick, and I'm like, wait, where are the rest of the heroes gonna go, right? Like, yeah, that's what we were talking about before we actually headed into the match. So that was really pretty interesting and very bold, I would say, coming out from the Homebois, which is something I'm a huge fan of.
And that's what it's going to take, right? And we can only guess so much until we actually get to the draft here. But I think regardless, there's still a lot of room to bring some of these not newer picks, but like picks that we're not used to seeing. You know, and now is the time to do it. In these final couple days left for Games of the Future, I think they're
तर यिनीहरूले त्यो अरू बेलाको जस्तो गरिरहेको छैन
whatever team you end up even in the grand final,
Game of
probably
Futureले क्या
form of a surprise.
ऊ हेर न त्यो के देखाएको यस्तो क्या पछाडि ल्याएर
Draft here. AP Bren and Homebois. One of the teams have to go home. You know, and it starts here in this best of
Super Mario
Game1.
Q, Cartridge,
That first pick, what they're going to be going for. And I wouldn't be surprised
पुरानी
if
सेट छ
Whittaker's probably going to pop up, possibly for the first pick. We'll see if one of the teams actually want to go that route, just kind of ban some of these heroes that we've been seeing constantly picked up in the first phase.
सुपर मार्को धेरै राम्रो खेल्छ यार गोल्डन त त्यसले त यस्तो राम्रो लाग्छ
kind of goes to show that AP Bren might kind of go for that like massive chase
लास्ट म्याच पनि सुपर मार्कोले धेरै उयो गरेको हो नि प्रेसर दिया हो नि यसलाई ओनिकलाई
has also picked up like even before
सुपर
but
मार्कोले
still not
सानो
going to
हानेर
be
गोल्डन
open here. I think that's one of the top
Brody
end
खेल्दा थियो
or
होला त्यसले
let's say
लास्ट
open.
म्याच
Actually there was a time it was open for AP Bren
Matilda
taking down also the
Guerrero,
matchup with Homebois where Owen
यिनीहरूले यो अरू र नाना छोडिदिन्छ यार
not a single net
अहिलेसम्म खासै ब्यान
त्यस्तो
भएको
धेरै छैन नि त ग्याङमा काम लाग्दैन जस्तो लाग्छ
plugging that kind of lineup. So
एकचोटि युज गरिसकेपछि सकियो यिनीहरूको
really well for them.
यिनीहरूले
नोलान
लोड दामीसँग छिट्टो गरे नोलान
आबर्ट पनि अब हेर्नु
It's a threat because actually the way her kit works, it has good poke potential, and then you build it that way. It gets scary, right? So it's a good ban. I mean, obviously even without that, like Matilda's constantly banned out just because of how strong she is.
मजाकमा ब्यान गरेको जस्तो
Will
गरेर
also be taken on a picture here. We know that AP Bren loves that pick if they want to go that route. We'll see though. Once again, even with this is still leaving some of those other heroes that are picked up often in the first phase. Joy is still open, that's still available. Of course, you still have the Rubies available. You still have Nana, of course, that has been in high contention for a lot of the different teams here. So even ban-wise, this is a little bit different. Like typically, that's a surprise.
गुनी बनायो
Bren's the one that's just like, you know what, take out Guinevere. So
रुबी हान्नै पर्छ
is a little bit of a different
रुबीलाई कस्तो बफ गरेर उनीहरूले साह्रो बनाइदिएको छ नि त
Yeah, I was gonna actually point out, like, I was curious why AP Bren banned away that Orlog. Like, most of the time, even all the way back to the group stages, this is what they would prioritize, especially when they're on the blue side. So this kind of goes to show that AP Bren kind of wants to bring out something different also this time. As for Homebois, there's a lot to take in here. I mean, yes, you're going to be the last
रो
one to
लुकेर
ban
त्यो
out
ग्लिसमा
Euro,
बसेको केही नै
but also I
बनाइदिँदैन
think that it can kind of like
लडहरू
leave you out of knowing what to ban out. I was actually thinking of Joy that AP Bren could pick up is going to be taken out here, but AP Bren kind of wants to go the safer route, like they pick up a Ruby here, which is pretty much standard for everybody here in the tournament. Very safe pick, flexible. Guinevere is also out, so they can actually kind of start it off with that, but something that Few is also pretty comfortable with, Vision, is also pretty important to poke and the backline. They got the Novaria for themselves, which is actually pretty good since Homebois' deal actually loves to pick up this hero. So it's kind of like a deny away here from the side of AP Bren, which means Homebois can kind of go for, okay, if they don't have the Novaria, like, why not just get a hero that can copy it? Valentina, which is a rising pick, a solid pickup here so far. In the meta, knowing that there's a lot of good ultimates that really can be picked up here by the Valentina. They can also go for, I'm looking at what else is available here. CC is also available, but the Ruby is going to be locked in instead here by the side of the Homebois.
Okay.
It's a राम्रो गर्नु त नि नोबारी हेर टक्कै यताखेरि भ्यालेन्टाइन
That could obviously work in their favor.
रुबी पिक गर्दैन रुबी पिक गर्दैन
Valentina, like,
रुबीले अब प्रेसर
from
गर्छ
other teams too. Still not one of those like
नाकमा दम गरिदिन्छ
take it away, but I like that Homebois did it.
नोबारीलाई पक्रिने के लिन्छ हेरौँ न
They go with it here. The Ruby's paired up really well. I'm not sure though. Like,
Valentine,
knowing that Valentina's already locked in so early on, it's like, how do you want to play around this? What ultimates, do you want to give over to Homebois?
You know why the Valentina is still pretty good right now? Even despite the fact that she was released back in November 2021, and even up until now, come on, somebody give this girl a break. She would stay on average or the top pick.
Super Marcoले Brody ले राम्रै हान्छ
It really limits out
Flat
what
PG
the point can out, right? Like what the value is out. You kind of have to double think, like, okay, I can't pick up these heroes that have really good ultimates. The Valentina can pick it up. But right now, but if you give them like so much CC here or so much crowd control for the side of AP Bren, Udil might actually have a hard time picking up the ultimates. They lock in the Brody here and the Bren as well, which is something that PUBG is known for doing or known for picking up, even in the M5.
Yeah. And with that too, the fact that, the Novaria paired with the Brody, this is a very all these picks at this point are kind of like signature picks so far. Nothing out of the box for AP Bren anywhere right now. Right? We've seen this so often, and at the same time, it's making me wonder, even with the Brody, already Brody, Novaria. What you're automatically thinking is, alright, range. He's got range. We have to deal with that range. If we're Homeboys, like, how are we approaching this range? Well, for them, it's like, well, we do have a Valentina, which depends on what ultimate we can take here. We've got a Ruby, so already our responsibility for the Ruby is like, you have to make the play. Like we have to be able to, if you're Zorn, you have to be able to get that ultimate. The problem is, if you don't get it,
Super Marcoले Julio
and so, even with that being said, you still have to round down some Ruby pick for Homeboys to allow yourself to do that. Now, the traditional matchup we see here in the gold
Dragon किन हान्ने आएर
is most likely to like a lot for the Bruno.
Dragon ब्यान आएर पनि हान्नु क्या उता एपी ब्यान
That is also just because it's a little bit safer. You just try to farm up, get those two items.
नोबारियालाई पनि हान्छ नि
You're
ड्रागनले
going to be fighting against Brody fighting from afar, and you have to also be safe enough to deal from the vision provided from Novaria, right? So we'll see exactly how that goes. We have a couple more bands left here. We need to see focus as well on that XP lane, right? And depending on where the kind of holds, that's also going to be a big question. What do they park in the XP lane?
They're taking away like the, I wouldn't say signature picks, but at this point they're limiting out the XP lane, which is also very crucial in the early game, which you've seen a lot of the teams do. Like instead of going through their usual rotation in the gold lane, they kind of pressure out the XP lane. So you kind of need that solid or that stable type of XP lane that can sustain you up until it reaches the point that you can get to that level for help in the turtle. That's going to be the export taken out here for Homeboys as their final ban. I think they're limiting out a flat piece here in terms of the hero pool, and for AP Bren. They could take away the Bruno here, or they could take away more XP laners. CC's also out here, so that means it's going to be more focused on the XP lane. And I like this ban coming out from the side of AP Bren. CC can really reach the back lines here. As we were talking about that, somewhat kind of disrupt like the Brody and the Novaria that has the range here for their side.
Okay, and with that, fighting concerning the range here, the Lapu being picked up.
लापु उठायो अहिले फाइटर मेटा छ यार म्याक्सिमम फाइटर हुन्छ तीनटा फाइटर उठायो त
Lapu is probably one of the safer to go for Homeboy. Like with this lineup, this is not out of the box. In a way, it's like you have to approach this ranged game that AP Bren is going to have with this, and you kind of got to cover that base here for the most part, because playing against the fact that you're going to be getting spotted out with vision is troublesome.
Smart is nothing
crazy, nothing new for AP Bren. They like to do, and now they have a Minotaur. So there's a lot here that Homeboys kind of has to tackle. What you're hitting off the top of your head for that gold lane.
Oh man, like this next kind of go for like a Harriet that can go like head to head with the Brody. Maybe like a safer choice, like the Brody that you've been mentioning earlier, that is actually open here for their side to take, or maybe go for something completely different. The Claw, I think, is still open. that is actually pretty good here with the tanky picks, but there's a process here that they have to deal with. They're going to be locking in the quad for the last pick here for the Homebois, which I think is a direct answer to the tanky front line.
No, light log idhar आइहाल्छु ल
हेर्दै light log idhar. I'm a little bit worried that there is going to be the demonic force here coming out from the side of AP Bren, which is not going to make it easy for the quad.
Yeah, and that's I feel like the name of the game once again is like dealing with this pressure of range. And now that you have a Mobius who's like the counter of that, like he's all in your face. You know what I mean? Like that's his job. So it's like for Homebois, I feel like the biggest issue they have to solve here in Game1 is like how do we protect what we need to as we approach the game, but then dealing with getting in range because it's already hard enough to catch a Novaria. You know what I mean? And when it's just kind of sieging down your lineup. Especially when it comes to these objectives, where what I was saying Kim earlier, like we'll probably see this happen and unfold. Like pay attention to this, the timing that I've been talking about from AP Bren. I wouldn't expect it to change so much because they had it down to a T, and leading into that first award is probably going to be with that being said, jumping in here into the land of Dawn. Game number 1 is this second match of the day, AP Bren and Home.
Lo मेरो नेट अड्क्यो
So win though. Taking some damage already.
Yeah, this is classic moves to the side of Homebois. What they do actually in the early game is make sure that they poke, let's say in the mid or even the goal, make sure that they poke them heavily so that they can poke back and kind of recharge and reset before like objectives. And even Zorn here, being super aggressive here up against AP Bren, which is something that they actually managed to do even in the group stages. And so far we haven't seen any of these like any early game takedowns so far, but it's a matter of like pokes from both sides.
And you know, with that, I like the fact too that Homebois dealing with the poke, if they want to, dealing with the range, they at least have a couple options to get out, right? Like the purifiers are there, and Nets is definitely going to need it. He's going to have to kind of break some ankles here too. Like he's got to have the timing of the BMI on point, which again he's done many times. He's obviously he's gone through the ropes here, right? Obviously, so nothing new for him. For the rest of the team, that leaves to a deal in the rest of the team.
फर्स्ट टोटल गाह्रो हुन्छ उनीहरुलाई
throughout this portion of the game, and now that this objective is going to be up here, you're going to see it kind of unfold as both teams are going to try to get that.
मेच माथि गयो 4 हुनु सबै यिनीहरु 4 हुन्छ एकैचोटी
You can already see the positioning happening here. Kyle TZ will go ahead and start the
टाइम दुईटै 4 भयो मिटमा
spotted out, right? GB's just around the corner from here,
मेचहरु टपमा गएर 4 भयो पिउ भयो
first portion of this game.
ओइ रुबी भएको छैन तीनै छ टाइम
Here, got that demonic force as well. Mlbb starting it up. Turtle already at 1.4 HP. It's going to be cheapy picking it up for the side of Homebois. There's the appraiser's rat from Kyle TZ. He's not going to be able to get out, but it still goes on. Flap TZ going to be able to pop in that demonic force and knock it out for the first time. There's still not going to be any casualties just yet, but AP Bren, or rather the side of Homebois, starting off real strong by picking out that first turtle of the game.
Yeah, it's good they get that, right? I mean, at least they're able to pull through with that. No one goes down, so no first blood just yet. And, you're going to have to kind of see these rotations happen now from Homebois because with a little bit of this, it's like a baby step on it at this point. But that's what I was saying. If they can secure the first turtle of the game, maybe even all three, that gives them this minor advantage when they really have to go toe-to-toe with AP Bren.
Level gap छ
Right now, look how consistent they are on this side of the jungle of AP Bren.
Kyle TZ going to be soaking up the damage. Not going to go for the full commit. Look at GB here. It's actually 2 levels ahead of Kyle TZ here. And this is exactly what you need to do, right? If you're a Martis, that is so good in the early game. And if you're talking about the light switches, Martis also kind of has that light switch, right? Once it reaches mid to late game, it's already at par with everybody. It's fine. It does not have that kind of early game snowball, I'd say, once it reaches that mid to late game. So they have to watch out for that here too. Homebois, and they gotta capitalize this early game.
क्याम गरेको र नाम मिडमा 3 जनाले
See how they play around that once again. 30 seconds away from this turtle.
पड्कायो
APP Bren though.
Beto.
Are they gonna get caught out here?
रुबीले मिस गर्यो
That's gonna be
गडाले
Sepa picking up the first blood. Here comes easy to the rest. We've been taking a lot of damage. That's GP. Gonna go in for that decimated.
अब अर्ली हो लेट अहिले लेट भएर
Homebois starting it off real
राम्रो
strong
काम
here.
भयो फेरि
This is
चोट
what
छैन
they
पाएन
have done up against AP Bren in the group
राम्रो
stage. Just
गोल्ड
pushing
राम्रो
her
छ
out. The XP
रुबीले
lane,
अल्टी मिस
you know,
गर्यो नि है
resist, like they're just letting that gold inside. Let's take a look at the instant replay here.
सबै
Yeah,
छिर्यो
so as it all unfolded, once again, you know, it's just the scaling that's been in favor right now. Homebois
लेट गेम
back
त
to
हान्छ
pointed
मोबाइल
out.
पनि
The
यता
market has been
सुपरमार्केट
just
छ
farming up, doing well, and that's another turtle
Ronald
that's taking
Ramari
as well.
गरिरहेछ
So the pace,
Homeboisले
the tone,
टोटल पनि
it's
खायो
Homebois
सेकेन्ड टोटल पनि
so far, and it's AP Bren
म्याचै उनीहरूको भइरहेछ
3,000 gold behind, and this is quite, you know.
जिते त
Now
हुन्थ्यो
what
यार
people are
यो
used to seeing from AP Bren right now, it's Homebois just kind of giving it to them.
तर
And so
कहाँदेखि
with
गेम
that,
पल्टाउँछ जस्तो
if they can keep
भाइ
the
भइरहेको
gas
छ
going without getting too reckless, that's where Homebois has to keep together. This is that play style we were
यिनीहरू
talking
कस्तो
about
माथि
earlier.
खेलिरहेछ
You know, from the Malaysian region,
Yeah,
really
mistake
kind of
गर्छ।
paying dividends here. And meanwhile, that's
अब
just
अब
ready
अब
for
अब
warm-up.
अब अब
That's the
5 जना
best
बेला भयो है
scenario
प्लेयर
for him, you know? Have that gold lane experience, hold on, they're going to go for it again.
चलो चलो
Clap season's gonna start up. There is gonna be the demonic force looking to take up too much damage. Kelsey's in the rest of the gang, forced to back away. Not gonna go for more. And that's gonna be AP Bren backing it away.
यिनीहरूको हेर न 4 जना कहिले छुटिँदैन यार त्यहाँ हेर न जाइ गयो
Looking at the advantage too. GB is levels ahead here of against Kyle Tizzy, who's just level 7, 30 level 10 here.
नाइस
Interesting choice of emblem too here, nice too. I think this is one of the first few times I actually seen this impure range on a Martis. Usually like you go for a
Level
quantum
gap
charge.
धेरै
How is this
level gap
different from
राम्रो
the
राख्नु
quantum charge here? Nice too.
यही वेमा गयो भने चाहिँ जित्छ
Sorry, about to call me,
तर अब लड आएपछि हुन्छ लड फाइट यिनीहरूको गेम पल्टिने नै त्यही हो टोटल फाइट लड फाइट न
You know, I think like either way,
Wipe out
you can be
हुन्छ
very flexible with
ल राम्रो छ यार
Of course, I don't think we actually get a list of, you know,
राम्रो राम्रो
what
लिड छ
they're
यार
rolling with, but it works, right? For the most
4,000
part,
को lead
it's
छ
just-
नि
it's a little bit of that extra damage, and then of course you can roll around with
ल
significantly
यही
as well that
रफ्तारमा
comes
राखोस्
with it, and it's kind of debatable.
Leadमा
Some players they like to
क्लाउडले पनि हान्छ तर क्लाउडेको
the assassin emblems, like some of them still go with that, you know, and they can work
क्यामले
around
यो
it. But
गरिदिन्छ
right
नि त
now, whether
मिनेटहरू
it's
25
quantum
स्पिड
charge,
क्लाउड
whether it's
अल्टिन
this pure rage, he's making it work, and that's what counts for GB because he's doing it against a very renowned jungler and team. So now third turtle's going to be up here. They're going to get in position for this one as they break through the deal, holding on to the demonic force himself.
त्यो मिनाटरको अल्टीको लागि नै
That's
तिनीहरूले
something that
सबैले
we've seen
प्युरिफाई लिएर
classic.
बसिरहेको
Who's going out from Homebois? I've seen this in the group stage where Lab's easy to deal. We're going at it. Turtle's going to be reset here. We'll deal taking a lot of damage. So going out from.
यो एउटा लिनुपर्छ यार एपी ब्रान्डले नत्र त गोल्डमा त
It's going to be Calcizi.
न चोच्छ
He's going to go for Zor here. Flickers out. He'll deal to his first target here. Nice setup here coming out from the Minotaur. It's going to be
अब
Calcizi.
पल्टा नाइस नाइस नाइस
They're still going to go for more here. Calcizi's going to get taken down, but Chibi.
सुपर मार्कोले पल्टाउन थालिहाल्यो नि
Super Marco, who's kind of free
यस्तो
hitting
राम्रो
everybody.
खेल्छ
It
यार
is that double kill. 2 kills for the gold laner of AP Bren.
गोल्ड 2000 मा झारिहाल्यो
And I just say it.
अब यो खायो भने अलिक गएर
You can't get too reckless.
एउटै ग्याङदेखि पल्टाउँछ
On the
है
gap
यिनीहरू।
here, Homeboy was, but this is the punishment I'm talking about, right? Yes, they're still ahead. They're holding on to a lead, and that's great. But they can't let that happen again. And the fact too, that Super Marco got those 2 kills, and now he's got the 2 items he needs. He's got the blade, he's got the malefic roar. He's going to be a threat. He's going to be kind of tough to deal with because right now, Few's still building up, right? He's not where he needs to
क्लाउडले
be on Mario
फार्म
just
दिँदै
yet. He's
गरिरहेको
trying to
छ
scrap up a little
उनीहरू
more
दुईटा
gold
बिच
to get the items that
6000
he needs.
क्लाउड
And
थियो
also the THS being picked up by Super. So now he's got the 3. That was a huge kind of power spike in this last minute that he just went through. And this is what I'm talking about, where this usually happens in the case before that first Lord coming out. So in under a minute, it's going to be there. It's Super Marco. If he is not taken care of, if he's not focused down, he's going to be a threat to the Homeboys. So they just got to keep it together. Right now, the lead they have, work around it. But you can see this. That's exactly like Owen. For the most part, will just kind of plan himself around here.
यिनीहरूले सुपर मार्कोलाई अब कोतारे गर्नुपर्छ क्या
They want to make a
जिरो एकचोटि मारेको छैन सुपर मार्कोलाई क्या हुन्छ
Ogun here has a flicker. It's going to be Udil taking a lot of the damage. Torn apart memories. Is it? As he takes out Udil from the backside, Sebastian's going to go for it. Razor's Rat there being caught in by Kalti. Now from the backside, Sebastian's going to get taken down, but Flapteezy's still going to go for it. Demonic Force is still up as Chibi and the rest of the Homeboys are going to be running away from it. There's going to be Astral Echo too from you. Everybody's reload, but they won't be committing for more as they are going to be setting themselves up against this Lord.
यो लड लग अब फमाइहाल्यो नि
Did I not say?
एकछिन हो त्यसलाई
For the first Lord, there's a play that AP Bren does, and this time it wasn't even on their will. It was Homeboys that tried to make the play in the bottom side. But Owen knew that would probably happen with the pressure they were putting on that turret. They see it coming, and they fight. And Super Marco, like I said, he had the 3 items he needed. It didn't matter. Udil took a couple hits, got marked up, and then torn apart. Right? Like that's what happened. And now the first Lord is secured. I've been talking about this for months now. That
यो लडले त पुछे मैले
that's
माथिको पुछानी हाल्यो अब
what they
यिनीहरूले
like to do. And this is now gotten themselves to a point where it's even. He just picked up a wind of nature. So that gets a little bit more dicey for Homeboys because one, it's like, how do we get to him? And Few is also building up really well now at this point. Another turret's going to fall here. So huge space advantage now.
एउटा लड र टटलको फाइटले यिनीहरूले गेम पल्दै
Yes, it's only one turret against Homeboys, but the power play that they're having right now is huge in comparison to the past couple minutes.
Here has been picked up to here by Sepat. I'm thinking about what the Homeboys need to do as to definitely the shutdown Super Marco will be big. So shutdown goal is going to have to be there. But at the same time, like AP Bren has already taken back the space that Homeboys has been taking in for the first few games. And so far, like at this point, right, we're going to burst down Flapteezy, Kalteezy, all these players already have items that they need. And at this point, like Super Marco can also sustain whatever Homeboys is going to be throwing out since he already has the wind of nature, like what you pointed out. So it's either up to Nets, who has been quietly farming actually so far for the side of Homeboys, but hasn't been able to pop any of those blazing duets yet.
Well, I would say like Nets is still in a good position to have some impact here as we get further into this game, and that is something that AP Bren knows very well. It's something that Super Marco himself does. You can see it. Nets is already putting pressure there, and AP Bren is going to respond exactly to that, right? So this is something we're familiar with. It's almost like a game of cat and mouse. Like they have to be able to answer the pressure on these side lanes. AP Bren, even with the minor lead that they have in space, they still have to manage it, right? Because it can quickly go in favor of Homeboys here if they're able to pull down some of this pressure. That's why also you see Sapat putting himself there in the bottom lane, right? So the rest of this, it's kind of like Homeboys. They have to flip the mindset. All right, let's protect Nets as much as possible. Let's keep him alive. Let him do what he needs to do. He's got some needs now in his claw. He should be scaled up really well. Look at this. Like, taking a look at the items here. On point, he's where he needs to be. Still building up. Most likely that wind of nature next. Grabs it as soon as I say. So now he's got it. That's great. Now he's matched up. He's still a little bit behind in terms of gold, but he's well matched up against Super Marco. Now this next Lord is up here. Homeboys is actually in a good position. If they can hold this off, even possibly with a concealed flame sword, if they want to go that route, it could happen. They're actually putting pressure in his face around this Lord already. And AP Bren has to respect it. They know exactly that Nets is going to work on this turret. He's got to make sure he's fine. BMI's back. So still the push and pull here for this second Lord as both teams work on it. The shots, though, coming out from you. You have to be careful about that.
सुपर मार्कोले राम्रो खेल्छ
Not going to be any ultimates just yet. Just going to be coming out from Fuse just for Division Gaming. Lord's going to be reset here. Taking a lot of the damage there. Nobody's fully committing to all these clashes, knowing that there's also pressures on the sides with AP Bren. And I actually want to close this out by taking this Lord Owen. Going for that setup there. Turtle, or rather
Super
Lord.
Mario
1 more HP here. 1 more HP. Let's see how Kelsey's gonna be able to take it with the retribution. Storm's gonna go down here. Super Marco's still freezing everyone though. And AP Bren might actually just reset there and actually take their time to pressure the side of Homebois here. But you know, Homebois, I like the attempt. There was some light there. They actually could have made some plays, but now AP Bren, this is where they're good at. They're going to be pressuring this mid tower. Second tier already down, only the inhibitors left here.
Oh, that's tough again. Still going to be fighting it out. GB going to try to keep them at bay here. Nance as well for the rest of the team. They still have a little bit longer for Zorn to be up. A couple seconds here. They should be forced, of course, by this time that AP Bren gets ready for this assault. So most likely, again, like we just saw from that last exchange, it was they approached it very well. Homebois for a little bit looked like they had some control, and then AP Bren punished them. Super Marco having a massive game. So now Lord's here. It's going to go ahead and charge in.
VFX is good, right?
Knocking into the doors of Homebois, look at the damage too coming out from View.
Sensory.
Poking everyone.
Over the porta
Bren can actually go for the pressure. Pressure is still delayed.
AP Brenले भनेको नि सुरुमा एकछिनको लागि fall down चाहिँ कुन मोड देखिन
all of the damage. Flap TZ not going to be the best thing that demonic forces yet. There's a tug from Zorn, but it's not going to do much as AP Bren is just going to be backing away from that one.
Yeah, they don't have to find it. I mean, for the most part, AP Bren, they're very objective-based right now. That's what they're thinking. They get the 2 turrets. They're most likely going to get this third, too. It's only a couple hits away. And still, they might put the pressure to actually force the situation if they want to. GB already taking a couple shots on the marks here.
Yeah, a lot of damage coming out from Super Marco. Somehow trying to go for the backside. Goes for the Raven Spider, but he gets spotted here by Super Marco and the rest of the gang. Zorn, Flap TZ just zoning everyone and still not getting taken down. Demonic Force is still up as he goes for more here. Minion waves are also crashing in here for the side of AP Bren. They might actually just go for the finish, but there's just a lot of heroes still up here for the side of Homebois. They might actually just reset here and try to go in for the next Lord.
Okay, they take the discipline route, they back off. Sabah was the only one that went down, and I know we didn't get a good look at it, but there was relatively a good effort from Homebois there, and it kind of split off also the team. AP Bren for really trying to like win that fight through, and Super Marco, he still did not go down. But overall, you know, Few was able to be very elusive, and he hasn't died, and that's why the Novaria is so strong with the way that her kit works. And Super Marco, so it's like Homebois, you know, you're looking at things like really to pick off. How do we actually get one of these targets locked in? And, you know, at this point, too, Nets has the items that he needs. It's not really much of an itemization thing. It's like, how do we actually execute this and pull it off? And that might come down to just going toe-to-toe with these Lord fights, right? Like, the next one is now up. We're nearly at the 17-minute mark. Homebois has the items they need. It's like they just have to win.
Lord मा आउनै सक्दैन नि Homebois
They're going to get prepped and ready for it. But Owen also waiting patiently there in the bush. Udil holding on to his demonic force. We'll see how they approach it. We're going to be This is a very crucial Homebois trying to get a position here. Not sure very able to right now.
They're trying to, though.
Yeah, they have to.
किन गरेर लिड गर्दै
There's going to be the pokes that are coming out from View actually causing the rest of the Homebois to actually back away. One wipeout can actually take them down. They don't have any inhibitors left, and that's going to be AP Bren securing in. Leave the second Lord of the game actually here for the side. So without the inhibitor here, second enhanced Lord for the side of AP Bren, this can create a lot of pressure. But for the Homebois, right, they have to find that pick off on the back lines. The only one that can actually do that at this point is Sword with a nice setup. Or Stepan actually. You've seen him attempt on Super Marco and View. But at this point, no inhibitors left. They gotta focus on defending their base here. They have the Lord for the side of AP Bren.
Yeah, Conceal already used here. They're going to get spotted out though.
Superman.
He's going to be using that demonic force up to keep it going. Wait, look at the damage on the cheese. Nice setup there by Owen. Everyone's real low here from the side of Homebois. Freeze to take down the Lord. And from the backside, still no heal with that demonic force into the deal. Not going to be able to make it. Only Nets and Chibi left to defend. The Lord is still not keeping the base of Homebois. And that's going to be it. AP
कसोल्टी हेर्दै गर्नु ल म
Game number one.
गर्नुपर्ने
म पनि यो गेम अब अर्को गेम मात्रै स्ट्रिम गर्छु यो गेम रोक्छु अब एमबीपी हेरौँ एमबीपी कसले पाउँछ तर एमबीपी सुपर मार्को 100% हो ल एमबीपी चाहिँ सुपर मार्को 100% जस्तो लागिरहेछ मलाई चाहिँ यो पछिको म्याच भनेको ब्ल्याक लिस्ट इन्टरनेसनल भर्सेस फायरफक्स स्पोर्टसँग छ अनि उनीको चाहिँ रोयल साइबर स्पोर्ट क्लबसँग छ है त
They were doing it in the early game. They were the ones setting the pace. They were the one making AP Bren respond to them. It's just, again, at some point, it's like they lost control here. And as we take a look at the replay, the highlights from this game, you're going to see what we're talking about. Now, this is also 7 minutes in. That was the turtle fight. And you can see just how strong
Super Marco is the match.
This is where Super Marco just kind of flipped his own switch. He got the double here. And this is where the scaling really went in the favor. We've seen him play Roadie time and time again. And when he gets these 2 kills, 2-3 early kills like this, that's what happens. He scales up really fast. He's very good at positioning. You know, Super Marco as a player, that's one of the things that really stands out for me on depending on whatever marksman he's playing in the goal lane. His positioning is so good, and the rest of the team does a great job at peeling for him when he needs to. This also was just showing how strong that power spike was at this point in the game on that Brody.
Yeah, it was a shutdown goal actually on Chibi at that, like, which is why the massive goal swing went inside of AP Bren, and not to mention it all went to Super Marco here, which is someone that really, you want to give all those kills to. And at this point, like 13 minutes in, there were some attempts here by Chibi to actually take in Lord, but unfortunately for the side, it's going to be a retribution battle, right? And it's going to be Kyle CP taking it in here for the side of AP Bren, and once it reached the point that, there was only the inhibitors left here for the side of AP Bren, what they did, right, was actually take this the safer route, like just go for the next Lord, not force anything too crazy here in the final encounters.
Yeah, and so with that, again, it took a little longer, 18 minutes into this push, but you could just see at this point, like, how that positioning and how everything else was where they needed to be, and it was, at this point, Homebois just a very difficult time, like trying to go in with that fight and deal with that. And you can see it, Super Marco's reserve as MVP here for game number 1. Very, standard for him. Honestly, Super Marco at this point on this hero 702, like he has done this multiple times.